Creativity is an act of leadership. In business, the true return on investment is not always found on a balance sheet. It lives in the culture you build, in the energy your organization carries, and in the way your clients feel when they experience your company. Those things are difficult to measure, yet they are often the greatest drivers of long-term success. As entrepreneurs, we choose a path defined by uncertainty. Risk is not something we avoid, it's something we learn to navigate. But the real objective is not simply the pursuit of money. The real work is building people, because the strength of an organization lives in the individuals who shape it, protect it, and carry its identity forward. I am Selena Eklund, the first female coach at the Elliott Group. My work is centered on helping leaders cultivate creativity, develop their teams, and build cultures that create lasting impact. This podcast is a space for entrepreneurs and leaders who believe that businesses are not built by numbers alone, but by people, courage, and willingness to create something meaningful. Today's guest is someone who truly lives by what she teaches. She's a world-class mental performance coach, best-selling author, speaker, and trusted advisor to elite athletes, CEOs, and high performers around the world. Known to many as Coach Dar, Darleen Santore has worked with leaders across NBA, NFL, MLB, and Fortune 100 companies, helping people strengthen resilience, sharpen their mindset, and perform at the highest level under pressure, which we're going to talk about today. But what makes her story so powerful is her message was built through adversity. After surviving heart strokes, Coach Dar rebuilt her life physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, and turned that pain into purpose. And today she's inspiring people everywhere to raise the bar, bounce back stronger, as we have here, and to live with greater intention. In this episode, we're going to dive into mental toughness, leadership, overcoming setbacks, and faith. And also, you are local to our Phoenix, Arizona town, and you are the Suns' mental performance coach. So I'm so excited to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
And get your lenses, the way that you view things to the world. And so I guess I want to start off with, did you ever know that you were going to be in this spot today when you were little? Did you ever think, was this like your dream goal, or how did the domino happen to all the other things?
No, I grew up in an Italian home. My mom was a barber. My dad was a tool and die maker. We didn't have a lot, but we had family. Sunday dinners is where everyone came together. And I think that's the number one thing I learned early on, is community is everything. When you have a great community around you, you could survive anything. And that's what we had. Everyone took care of everyone. So on Sundays, not only our family, but the whole community would be over our house. And I knew I wanted to go and help people. I didn't know what that looked like when I was little, but I was always the kid that when someone else hurts, I hurt. And I'm not for clicks. I want people to feel like they're all seen and heard. And I saw my mom walk that out every day. Like, someone sits in the barber seat, you are seen, heard, and loved if you sat in her chair. And it didn't matter who you were. And everyone waited the same. No one got VIP treatment until you got in the chair. And we walked with faith. And my mom was like Mother Teresa to me. And I just saw her. She was the one I learned pay it forward from. Because if she was hungry, but she saw someone else more hungry than her, she'd give her sandwich away. I mean, she was always radically giving, even though she didn't have a lot. And yet she was always taken care of, even though she went through her own adversity. So all to say, I grew up in a house with, my father was major sports. My mom was, if she could have been a serial entrepreneur, she would have.
Wow.
And
they must be proud of you now.
Well, yeah, they're not here anymore, but they were. I think they were. And I just, I ran for student council when I was in high school, not because it was for the position. It was because I wanted to find a way to be a voice for others till they could find their voice. And I think that's hilarious how God has taken that all the way through now. And so I grew up watching sports, doing sports with my dad, doing everything. Hunted, fished. Anything my dad did, I did with him. And I didn't think I would go into sports. I just knew it was a part of our ethos. Like, we would break down film watching sports when we were little. Yes. Wow. And I just, God's always planting these little seeds or things that you don't know when they're going to bear fruit, because I had no idea why we were doing that. And then I went to school to be an occupational therapist, and I took care of traumatic brain injury patients and stroke patients. And that's where I thought I was living the American dream. I was growing in this world-renowned hospital. I was leading.
And is this in Arizona?
Connecticut. This is in Connecticut.
And that's where I
grew up.
Connecticut. Okay.
And I thought life was going great because, I mean, I had made it in all terms according to my family. And then I was ready to start a family, married my college sweetheart, and that's when I had my first stroke. And I had gone, unfortunately, to a chiropractor, and it was a freak accident. When they manipulated my neck, they ripped the artery to my brain.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I bled into my brain, and that's where I had a blood clot. And that changed a lot of things for me. But in that moment, I was told I could die. And there's something that happens, especially when you're 25 and you hear those words. And I thought, no, that's what my patients go through, not me. And I couldn't have kids at the time, and it affected everything.
And that was just a regular chiropractor.
Yeah,
I just went in for
to get a neck
appointment.
adjustment.
Oh my gosh.
I had a sciatic pain from lifting a patient, went to go get treated, and ended up having a stroke. So it changed a lot of things, but that was a catalyst for me because I said, well, sugar, if I could die any day, I lost fear. There was something about losing fear there that I wasn't worried about what people thought at that moment. I wasn't like, so if something doesn't work out, okay.
Yeah.
It could not work out for me. If I try something and it doesn't happen the way I want to, that's okay. So I learned agility early on, and I lost some of my fear, which was good. I went to go try to fix healthcare, and by 28, I was a president of a large healthcare company, and then I ran multiple companies after that. And then it was 2008, and the recession had hit, and I was in a very secure spot in my life, but I chose to leave it all because that's when God got a hold of my heart, and I literally heard "drop your nuts and follow," and I left everything.
Drop your nuts and follow.
And that's when I dropped a very lucrative healthcare executive career. Wow. And I had already had a stroke. I really needed healthcare myself. And I walked away from it all to start my own practice, to start teaching people on mindset and neuro and human behavior and everything I've studied as an occupational therapist. And my father goes, you definitely have a brain injury because no one goes and starts something in the middle of a recession. And you're going to go follow just to follow and not know what the plan is? I said, yeah. I said, what's the worst that could happen? I could come back and run another hospital. It doesn't matter to me. And that set me on a journey that I'm on now. And I'll say a teaching moment for everyone is you don't have to force your way into what's meant for you. You will attract the things that and where God is calling to you. You know that energy when people walk in the room and they're forcing their energy?
Totally.
And it is so off-putting.
And it's apparent and you can
feel it. They're trying to be something they're not, and they're trying to prove something. When people say, how did you get into pro sports and how do you coach some of the top CEOs or world leaders? I didn't go and say, here's what I do and this is who I do it for. I literally took the skill set that I have and met the world's needs, which was high performers. My background's the type of therapist I am meets that. Neurology meets that. Neuroscience. So before all of mental skills coaching and even coaching was a thing, I mean, I was pretty much a salmon swimming upstream, just going out into the world speaking for free. Imagine getting a very big salary to go, I'm going to go speak for free now, and we're going to see who shows up. But God started bringing people. And that's how it came, where wives would bring their husbands and say, he could be the next CEO, but he won't listen to me. Or players would come to me and say, there is another level that I can't get to. Like, what is up with me? And that's how my clientele came to me. I didn't go after it. It came to me.
You became the person.
I was always the person. Meaning people. Like from a kid, I was always the person. Like God knew.
And did you, and then 2008, did you move here to Arizona?
No, I was still in Connecticut, then made my way to Nashville. And then from Nashville, I came here. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So then how did getting into sports and all that, like, did somebody reach out to you? Was there a link?
Well,
how did that happen?
Players started to just find me. My whole business, I've never marketed. That's the other crazy thing.
Yeah. That's how you know you're the ultimate salesperson, is where you can attract those. You know, there's this guy that I watch on Instagram. I have no idea how he does it, but it is fascinating. And it reminds me of people like yourself that know how to build a brand. This guy, remember way back in the early 2000s, there was the dog whisperer. Oh, yeah. There's this guy in Abu Dhabi who's the cat whisperer. opens up the bag and the cat is just screaming, clawing. You know what I mean? And you're just like, oh, like he has to wear this whole bodysuit to make sure they don't claw. And then within 2 minutes, he's singing, touching them, bathing them, using clippers all over their face, and they're just calm. And I'm like, that's the real salesperson. Is the like you can see it live in action, and that's those people finding you.
Well, I think part of this too is we need people that their front stage meets their backstage. So when you authentically are sharpening your iron and you are using your gifts with pure intention, and you're not trying to force it or to pretend something you're not, the results come. And when the results come, that spreads. Yes, is it good to go and share? I'm sure I could be reaching a lot more people if I would market more.
Yeah. So how did you realize like just being authentic and being yourself is the key? When did you realize
Grow it up in an Italian family. They will make sure you're always authentic in you. They'll call you on the spot. And also, I always go by what would I want to feel. I don't want to sit with someone who I'll help them if that's the way, but I would rather be with someone who's so real than be with someone who's so superficial.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I just want to be the person that I'd want to sit with and be around. And of course, as you go down your journey of faith, you know, Jesus is my best friend and I can't wait to meet him. And I just think if he was sitting in this room, how would it be? So if we could walk in that light, that you're just automatically going to be authentic.
Yeah, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
I see me parting with him to rave Jesus. You know, they make music.
Yeah.
They make. I remember walking to the office one day and I'm listening to hip hop and I'm like, who is this? And I'm listening closer and it's like, Jesus is in on the tomb and he's in heaven. And I'm just like, what is it? And then I found out they have like rave music. Rave Jesus. It's called Rave Jesus.
Oh, they have rave. They have great rap.
Yeah,
Jesus.
It is impressive.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, and it's really good and modern. And I'm like,
yeah.
wow. So I always see myself like partying with him, you know, like with some holy water.
That's right. That's right.
You know?
That's right.
That is so funny. So when people started reaching out and you had these pro athletes that were coming to you, when were you like, this is a legit thing? Because you were doing speaking, you know, free speaking. But at some point in time, like we're also in the industry, I get it. Like you also do have to pay, you know, professionally too, because when you pay, you actually get the results. That's why I think like even churches, I'm like, imagine if everybody had to pay $25 to get into church, how much more they'd pay attention to the sermon because they really don't want to sin because you pay more attention when your money is there, right? Which is true because that's how I've changed my life is paying for mentorship, right? Guidance. So when did you start to realize this is a thing and I can actually help people and people are getting results when they do pay for that? How did that?
It was a few years in of just getting out there, sharing the wisdom that I had over the years after running multiple businesses too. And I started that was kind of my research and development. What stuck, what didn't, who did it resonate with? And that's where you start to find out who your niche is, you know, what your market is, who really do you attract. And once it got going and now I could start to see that this is who it was, then I started to charge. And then once I started to charge, you know, it grew incrementally and then it just continued to grow. And then once you make it to a certain level, like being in the pros, you can't get there unless you create results because everything is out in the open and you're either going to be called up or called out.
That's true.
And so you have to be really comfortable with making adjustments along the way and being okay to you know, if you don't know something, learn it, but you have to keep sharpening your iron in order to stay at the top.
I love that. What's been one of the biggest transformations that you've had with a team or an individual player or a company? I'm a sports kind of girl, so I like to hear the sports side because I'm really naturally competitive. But if it's a company too as well, whichever, you know.
I think actually the interesting part, since we can't talk about faith, because I can't always talk about this, is, you know, I used to travel with them. So I'd fly with them. We'd fly to all the games, practice, shoot around. And there would be time on long flights where I'd have a player come and just lay down because we'd have a lot of space on the plane, and they'll say, Dar, can you tell me your walk with the Lord? And I'm like, whoa. Now, it's not like I was going around speaking Jesus, but they knew by my heart. And that meant so much to me. And we would have the most transformational conversations because now I could really coach them. And now I could help them go from rather than just performance to purpose driven, mission driven. And once that shifts, a player shows up better. Because while all day the world is just scoring them by numbers, now with gambling on an increase, they want them to win. Numbers. Everything is numbers on them. The pressure on them. What's their percentage that they're putting out? The world thinks they're good or bad based on if they win or lose. And I said something to you earlier and walked in. I want to help the fans get their head on straight because the fans affect the sport and the human. And actually people affect people at the workplace too. If we are not working to be our best selves, we are going to show up so unhealthy in this world. And you have fans screaming at these people that are human because one, they either lost their bet. That's not our fault. You gambled. Number two.
Oh, I didn't think about it like that.
Oh yeah, they have death threats on them now. I mean, the gambling has caused a serious issue.
I'm not a gambler. I'm
yeah.
stay far away from it.
Yeah,
so I wouldn't know.
Good.
But
no, it's caused a major issue. Yeah, where people are mad because they lost their house, but they over leveraged. And so they go find them and they're like, you have to win tonight. Well, that pressure should not be on another human because of someone's irresponsibility. Yeah. And so you have that. If just take that away, they just want their team to win so much that if the player isn't playing well, they then yell out on, X or on social, well, you get paid $150 million. You better get up tomorrow. And I want to say to someone who shows up at the corporate office, you get paid $150 million. Why are you not working out? Why are you not taking care of your mind? Why are you not taking care of your spirit? So all day, this blame is being pushed instead of people owning it. Mm-hmm. And that's my job, is to come in and help the world. I speak all over the world about this, to raise people up to be their best version, because mediocrity is not okay. Yeah. You need to be 1% better every day too.
Man, I want to tattoo that on my forehead. That is so good.
Yeah.
You're right, though. Well, you'd mentioned it when we were walking up here about the whole fans thing. And
it's insane.
Yeah, now that I think about it, I guess I never saw it from that perspective. But my fiance played hockey his whole life, mm-hmm. and hockey's really competitive, and it's grueling. They fight. Football, they don't really fight.
Yeah,
but
I have a lot of hockey players I coach.
Holy cow. Like, it's... it's like dangerous. So he stopped because he started having issues with his feet from the skates, broken rib. I mean, he's had his teeth cut through his lip. Just multiple injuries because they don't play out there. But I think about I watch a lot of what you're talking about, how your family grew up and you'd watch the tapes.
Yeah.
I watch the coach, how they have. My fiance's from Pennsylvania, so they have the Philadelphia Flyers, and so I watch their YouTube series on what the coach is like and how they coach and talking about giving it their best and their all. But so I guess I say that to say this: how do you coach and train somebody to have security in themselves, mm-hmm. and not in the money, in the gambling, mm-hmm. in fans, even if people are doing really, really well? Like, how do you tell people, find that in you? All the other stuff is external. I think that's why I like hockey too, because they're not like flashy. They don't care about, like, if you watch the press, they're like, yeah, we're just out here to play a good game. And sometimes the football players, they like the Gucci bags, the Louis Vuitton, the jewelry, they like the flashy stuff, but they're just like raw, and I think that's important, is finding the security in you. And whoever's listening to this, whether they're pro or not, how do you coach people to find that security in themselves and nothing else?
If I can say, I would say find it in God first, because if you have God confidence and you're secure in God, you could walk in any room. I mean, it's literally how I could walk in a locker room, a boardroom, or the White House. And people ask me all the time, especially being a woman in mostly male-dominated spaces, they'll say, do you get nervous? And I said, no. I said, if God brought me here, then I'm supposed to be here, and I'm going to stay in my lane. I'm always going to show up as how God made me. And that's how you start to get secure. So I tell anyone that I'm working with, first, we do a whole slew of coaching activities, and I use a lot of neuro to get them to start to rewire and understand who they are, like truly how they flow, what's their flow state. brain mapping. We do everything so that both science and an understanding of the people around them and how the world sees them and how they see the world. We do a whole bunch of exercises. So by the time we get done, 3 things I promise people is the guarantee of my coaching is confidence, clarity, and courage to go do it. And you will have all of that and be secure in who you are by the time you go back out there. And there's a lot of things that go into that. And to your point of hockey, you know, coaching in all the leagues, definitely hockey is the most humble. But even the ones that are flashy in the other leagues, they are so sweet and they are so genuinely grateful. A lot of stuff you see on socials for the show.
Right. To get more viewers.
Yeah, it's just the show. It's just entertainment. But they are good humans. They are really good humans and they get a bad rap. But hockey's definitely more humble.
Yeah. I love, or maybe I just don't watch enough of the other sports, but I've been noticing a lot of teams, they have been showing how active that they are in the community and donating.
Yeah.
Like the Utah Mammoths, they're always like giving to animal charities, children's organizations, and they publicly put that on social media. And I love seeing that stuff. That actually, part of that is what makes me become a fan of the team, is seeing the contribution towards, because there's so much money in the
that
industry.
comes from the owners, though.
Yes.
The owners of that team are phenomenal, and people should write a book that are other owners from Ryan Smith. It comes down, it starts with Ryan. The reason that organization is going to continue to do well is because Ryan is, and his wife and family are amazing.
I love that. What's the best form of recognition that you've ever seen in your time working with a company or a team? Maybe you're sitting in the room and you see something happen. Is there like a form of recognition that you see that like boosts somebody? You know?
I think the best form of recognition would be that someone believed in them. That someone believed in them and saw what was possible and helped them so they could become all that they were called to be. And when you have someone that believes in you, one person that can make it through the toughest day of your life where you think, do I even matter in this world? And then you get one person that's like, I believe in you. And I have a great story of that. There's a
man, do you want a job here? I'm like, everything of what you say is literally everything of what our company preaches, which is crazy.
I think it's 30 years of human development. I mean, crazy. I've been doing this for 30 years. So it's just part of, this is what works. I promise this is what works. But I have a great story because one of my closest friends, he's 6'8". So you could imagine him and I next to each other. He's black, I'm white. And we are best of friends. I love him so much. His name is Thaddeus Bullard. He goes by Titus O'Neill. So Titus's mom was raped at 11 and 11 years old. And so her parents were going to take her to have an abortion. And God got to her at 11 and said, like, don't do this. So on the way to go get the abortion, she jumps out of the car. She's 11. And she ends up going with her grandma. She ends up having this baby who is Thaddeus Bullard, Titus O'Neill. And he goes on and now obviously struggling growing up because she's 12 when she has him, trying to be with her grandma, raise a child when she's a child. So it's obviously challenging in its own way. He gets into some trouble as he gets older and he's into this, juvenile school and he's about to get expelled. And he goes to the principal, and this goes back to recognition and belief. Gets to the principal, and the principal says, and he goes to the principal, I know I'm a bad kid. And the principal says, no, Thad, you're not a bad kid. There's no such thing as a bad kid, just a bad behavior. I love you and I believe in you. And he said, I've heard people say they love me, but they don't show it the right way. But never has anyone said they believe in me. Changed his life, went on to be valedictorian, played at the University of Florida, went to the NFL, became a WWE wrestler, and now is a humanitarian of the year. I mean, he is the most amazing person. He's done so much in the world, and that all came because someone believed in him. That's amazing. And he's done more for people, built schools, built restaurants, built entrepreneur centers so that not only could kids get better, but the entrepreneur centers, the parents could get better so they both could grow together. He helps the homeless. He helps anyone all the time. So it's just, again, you could live as a victim of your circumstance, or you could go be a victor of your circumstance.
Yeah. Yeah, that is so true. We're very well like trained as a standard in our company. We don't like the victim mentality. Like everybody here that works in our company is like, don't feel sorry for me.
Yeah.
Like we don't want to feel sorry.
Yeah.
You know, whatever happens, and
Yeah.
you move on and you find the solution. It's crazy that you say that. Sometimes I tell myself like that I'm a miracle baby because so my mother's side of the family is all Japanese.
Okay.
And my so my grandma is, but my grandfather isn't.
Okay.
But it's a tradition in a Japanese household that if you get pregnant before you're married, you have to give up the baby,
Okay.
or you get married. But
Okay.
you can't have one and
Okay.
not have the other. And so my mom had me at 14 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so everybody told my mom, even my mom's family in Japan called her and said, "You're no longer welcome in this household. You can't visit us. We're disowning you unless you get rid of the baby."
Not even
And-
get married?
Nope, they were like, "Get rid of the baby." And they were living in America at this time. They moved to the United States when she was 10 years old. And but they're like, "We're going to disown you. We don't want anything to do with you." And the only person that stood up for me that said, "You're keeping the baby," is my grandfather, and who's a man of God.
Oh.
And so I think my grandfather is the person
Yes.
that's like saved my life.
Yes,
You know?
absolutely.
It's even my grandma was like, "Nope, the family doesn't own you." Like, you know, my grandma, it's just crazy how times have changed. Obviously, you know, now that I'm here and I'm born and it's been 30 years, it's just totally different. But my mom remembers my grandma trying to drag her to go to the abortion appointment. And my mom has then fought and my grandpa. So I think sometimes, you know, that you're that miracle baby.
You are.
But then I go back to my grandpa and I'm like, he's that person for me
He
that
is.
believed in me.
He is.
You know, just like Thaddeus has his person.
Yes.
It's crazy. And you're right. And what you were saying about life, you can only connect the dots looking backwards, not forwards.
Totally.
You know?
Gosh, yes.
And you're like, oh, this piece, oh, that piece. And then you're in it. And then you start laughing because God does something funny.
yeah.
Like, I'm like, oh, you're funny today. You're humorous.
Even if when you, like, people could have crossed your path 10 years ago that are in your life now that you didn't even realize, or how it came together. But God has been placing people in our lives all around us for a long time to make certain things happen that bring us to where we are today.
Yeah. Is that okay? I'm just like asking you questions.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just like kind of rapid firing.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Because you say something and I'm like, oh, I want to ask about this because I also see podcasting for me selfishly. Well, there's always reasons why people are doing something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I just want to learn. That's
Yeah.
like my selfish intent of having a podcast because I want to learn, you know?
Think about free learning is a podcast. It's amazing.
Yeah. So I'm like, I'm going to just maximize the time. So for you, as you grow, and there's going to be different levels to leadership, to coaching, to development. How do you not get into comparison mode? Because I'm sure that there's other people that are above you that are coaching, you know, maybe even more famous people like Elon Musk or, you know, Taylor Swift, or like big time, you know, I'm sure the president has a coach.
Yeah.
So like, how do you make sure, and for the people even below you that are just getting started on their journey, how do you make sure that you don't get into comparison in your mind of like, I wish I had that, or I wish it could be there? How do you manage that?
So this is a big principle I teach on, especially in one of my keynotes, which is you have to release what will weigh you down. And comparison is a weight. And there is no sense carrying around this weight. And also, I think comparison takes us off of God's mission. And so it's natural to start to feel it, but when you feel it, just go, oh, what it's doing is making me go like this, right? And the car windshield's in front of me. So if I keep looking this way, how can I drive to where God's calling me? And so I reset it and reframe it, and that's what I teach it is. I'm here on God's mission. I've had 3 strokes. I could die still any day. Whoever I'm supposed to help and what I'm supposed to do, I'll do. And I am not I'm not building this for fame. Yeah. I'm building this because of a mission that God called me to. And He will call each of us on our own mission. Some will be called here, some will be called there, some will be in their little community, in their town, in a small group, and some are going to be international and go everywhere, and like cheer them all on. Like, let's cheer them all on. And so I'm more than blessed for where he's called me now, and I'm so excited for where he's calling me to. But if he never blessed me another day in my life, damn, I'm so grateful.
Yeah.
And the people that he does have me help, the world will never know because I don't ever exploit them. And they're from people no one knows at all. They don't have a public name to people that have very public names. But the same consistent theme of the person is that person that excellence is the standard and they want to be their best version before they leave this world. So that's how I leave, I let comparison go. Does it come up because I'm human? Of course. And again, I'm so sold out to the mission that how can I outrun where God wants me to? And if I try to, I already know that doesn't work. So I'm just going to stay in the race that he calls me to, because in doing that, I could persevere better.
I love that. You have so hard to find, and I don't see a lot of people with it, but you have a lot of gratitude.
Oh, so much.
Yeah, I know you have it too. I don't even have to tell you.
Yeah,
but
I know.
It's hard to come across people that have it, and sometimes I do talk to people or I do a podcast with them, and I'm just like, oh man, but I just learned from it. I learned from it,
Yeah.
And I'm like, I want to live this way, and I'm going to take this lesson. And I'm sure you've learned from your strokes and other people that you've seen that you're like, man, this is heaven on earth. Like, we can have it all. And
I mean, my mentor lived through the Holocaust when she was 5. She was 5. And she saw people die, and she lived in a concentration camp, and she was freezing and didn't have food. Like, we have never experienced that.
Yeah, we're sitting in AC right now.
I know.
Okay, with coffee and bottled water. We didn't have to go fish for it.
And it's clean. We're not going to die from it. And we get to talk about faith without being persecuted right now. And
oh, yeah, that's right.
Honestly. And we get to do work we love. And so, I mean, like, truly, I'm in my gratitude journal. I write but I mean, I'm sure God's sick of me talking to him all day too. But
I don't think he is.
Yeah, I also think I started out life. My mom had major heart disease since 40, and she made it till 72. But I saw her go through excruciating pain and still get up and go to work. And I worked in the hospital where people literally lost their lives or made it through, but they'll never be the same. And when you start off in that environment and you leave work and you see people that were major executives in this world or leading, their lifestyle, everything, and they get in a car accident and everything changes, and now they're a 5-year-old the rest of their life because of a brain injury, or they'll never walk, or they'll never eat again. How could you not be different walking out of that? The healthcare workers that weren't, I would go talk to them. I was like, what are you missing here? Look at the people that their life is radically changed, and you have one more day, fully you. So, yes. And that's why even in business, we had talked earlier, when people get passive aggressive, we were talking earlier about like corporations would run better and businesses if people would work on themselves daily. And we're human, but to use unhealthy patterns consistently is going to break down and tear down a team. And so in sports, we fix things in real time. So you make the play, you come back to the bench, and you're looking at the iPad and you fix it in real time. In business, someone trips up or does something, who's talking about it, who's gossiping, who's this, who's passive aggressive, and you're like, oh my gosh, we just wasted a day, a week, a month, because people can't get their sugar together. I'm like, think about the business that you're running. No one's dying here. This is all helping people. So number one, you should come in so grateful, ready to do the best work of your life. And when we worked in the hospital, this was life or death for people. So majority of the places I go and I help people, I'm like, why are you tripping out? This is not life or death. We could figure this out. It's all figure outable. Just be radically honest, own it, come in trying to be the best that you can, and let's get better every day. And if we do that, then you're coachable and we can keep going. If not, this isn't a me issue, this is a you issue, and you could come back when you're ready.
Figure outable. I like that. My fiance says that all the time too.
Figure outable.
He's like, there's a solution for everything, and it's going to be fine. And then we always think about, what are the worst times that we've ever been through in our entire life?
Yeah.
And we talk about it, and he's like, okay, if we can get through that, then he's like, this is a cakewalk. And we got AC.
And think about it. So bouncing back.
Yeah, let's talk
I just want to say this to that point.
Your book too. Yes.
The only stat that everyone has 100% on is your bounce back rate right now. So if you hear my voice.
Picture. Sorry. I like pictures in books. That's why I'm like, I like this graphic in here. Continue though. Continue.
But just that you have 100% bounce back rate. So what he was saying to you was accurate because you have bounced back from everything that has tried to break you. And you have 100% rate in that. So when you go through hard again, no, there's no other stat that gives you 100% but that.
That's powerful.
So own it.
Imagine your own 30 for 30 or the toast that people will give at your 100th birthday. What do you want people to say about you? What do you want to have accomplished by the time you're 100? What do you want to be remembered for? Think on your life experiences. Think on how your life experience has informed your passion. What are you most passionate about? This is really good. Reflect on your why. Discover your why power. You have to follow these 3 steps. Reflection on your why, design your mission statement, and pick your power word. Really
why power over willpower is that chapter, because you could only will yourself so long. You're going to get tired. But if you have a why and a mission, you could sustain. In the military, why, soldier? What's your mission? Why are you doing this? True. When you're out in battle, you have to know your why. And when we get out here, I tell people, if the military could go fight for our freedom, damn it, why aren't you getting up and fighting your mission here right now? Getting up and using your gifts and talents. Because if you don't, that's a slap in the face to every single person that's served.
So you know how you want something so bad for somebody else, but they kind of can't see it and they don't know. Yeah. My brother just turned 18 because my mom had me very young. She got remarried and had my 3 brothers. And I really, really wanted my oldest brother to get into entrepreneurship. Yeah. Because I'm like, you have all these resources, these coaches, these mentors. I found personal development when I was like 27, 28 years old. I'm like, and he's been around this for the past 2-3 years, since he was 15. So I'm like, you're already ahead of the curve. And like, he could just grow in business like that because of the resources and the people that you're around. And he chose to not go into entrepreneurship, which I'm not his parent anyways, but I helped raise him. So I feel ownership to him. Yeah. And I'm like, I want you to see it. But he chose the military, actually. Okay. In the military. And he ships out to boot camp in a month from now. And I look back and I'm like, man, I have a lot of respect for him because the guts and the cojones that it even takes to swear in. And I know he has no idea what's coming for him in the next 4 months. He has no idea. Like, he's living comfortable at home. My mom's still making him breakfast every morning. Like, he graduates this Saturday. He's in Hawaii on his senior trip right now, like living it up. He has no idea what's about to come for him. But I just have another level of respect because he is doing something that I didn't do it. I didn't sign up for. Yeah. And that's good, like for him. A full circle. And I'm really proud of him. Or most people just stay at home. Oh yeah. And I'm like, good for you for making a decision. And he actually made it when he was 17. He swore when he was 17. So I'm like, good for you to be mature, and he's such a good kid. Like,
he's going to learn real fast, but also God knew what he was doing. If he planted it in his heart.
I agree. So what made you decide to write a book and put it out on paper and get it out there?
This was before AI, so this is very hard.
Oh,
this is so hard to write. We had none of that. Got it. No,
I understand
a computer, a MacBook. And so I had a quick story of that is I had always wanted to write something, and I thought I was going to write about patterns of greatness, and I was working on that. And then by the 3rd stroke, I was about to call it quits. I mean, the 3rd stroke was 7 years ago. It was the worst. I lost my voice, my ability to speak, my hands wouldn't work. And I was like, forget writing. I could just about get back up, and I have to get back up. I have to work. And so my friend called, who's an NFL agent, female NFL agent. She's amazing. And she said,
badass.
And she said, stop putting God in the corner. I said, what are you talking about? She's like, you got to write. And I said, right. I could just about talk. And she said, Dar, you have helped everyone bounce back, including yourself. How do you do it? I'm like, I don't know. It's, it's all the knowledge, 30 years doing this. You just know. Yeah. She's like, no, there's a formula. There's something you do. I'm like, I don't know. And I go, and who's going to take a chance on a first-time author that just had a stroke? And she goes, God will figure this out. And sure enough, an agent called me and said, I heard your name at the NBA All-Star game. I want to talk to you. And that's how this all got started. And then once you get an agent and you write it, it doesn't mean it's guaranteed, because these New York publishers, you know, you have to prove that you have something that you could write about, because the book's not done by the time went to the publisher, just the outline. And then I had McGraw-Hill, big publisher, take a chance on me. But again, all God. Yeah. And that was hard to do, though, because I would write it at night after I was done working. And to put sentences together and articulate it, you go to chat now to do it for you. There was no chat.
I can't even imagine what college is like at school.
Yes. Yeah.
I can only imagine everybody has the same papers, the same essays, the same
I feel like we're reading a lot of that now everywhere. It's just, so one thing on that is it's okay. You just want to be the human still in it. So you start the concept. You have the advantage. You could put it in there to articulate what you want, but you don't let it be your brain, because you will lose executive functioning. Part of that brain will atrophy, and then you will not be. When businesses are looking for top talent, they're going to look for the people that have the most critical thinking, and you will have lost it if you let AI take over.
You need the creative.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need the human design. I love that. That's I see people, I saw this video the other day of this girl making a costume, and she handmade it, like sewn needle, and it looks like it would be from a actual movie set. And she sells these costumes, but they're high quality because most people just buy a costume off of Amazon that's cheap plastic put together. Yeah. But she is like finding material, going to different art stores online, threading it, using different types of textures and materials for the costume instead of, plastic. So every time Halloween comes around, I'm always the person where I'm never just going to buy something online. So we did, last year we did Costco reps. The little snack reps. So I got 2 aprons. Yeah. I got the hairnet thing. I actually designed the name tag that said Costco reps Selena and Tyler. And we wore the white shirts, jeans, tennis shoes. And I made a little sign that said Elliott Starter Pack, Cold Plunge, 6-pack, the whole thing. Yeah. And it actually looked like it. And then we just bought the little cups. And we put the candy on it, and we already had a folding table here, so I just bought a red tablecloth. Oh, and it was a hit, and all the kids knew what it was, because everybody goes to Costco. And I'm like, I probably spent like $25.
Isn't that great?
Like the most expensive thing was the apron. It was like $10 for a 4-pack.
Right.
And everything else I scraped up, but that was more than going on Amazon and buying something. So I love that. Coach Dar, as we begin to wrap up here, what's the best piece of advice that you'd like to share with anybody listening to this? We have all different walks of life, so anything of your knowledge, of your experience, what would you like to share?
That the hard will come, but when you're in your flow state, using your gifts and talents the way God intended, you'll be able to get through the hard better. Meaning that people try to go become something they're not. I can never be a WNBA player. I'm never going to be a singer. I'm tone deaf. But when you look at where are your gifts and talents, what are they for you? You've been uniquely made. Where does that meet the world's needs? That becomes your purpose. And once you lock into that, you could start to flow. And flow state is the best state because it's where you could do the most work. It's where you feel effortless. And it's where when hard comes, you at least get through it easier because you're in your giftedness. So I would say, don't try to copy anyone else. Just be who God intended you to be, and take that seriously because He's asking you to be your best version. So wake up trying to be that best version, and then you could sustain because now you're adding value to the world.
I love that. Mm-hmm. I love that. What's the best way that people can reach out to you if they're looking at hiring you, getting some coaching, mentorship, services done?
Coaching, definitely speaking. If anyone needs, I love going out and speaking. It's one of my favorite things to do too. But CoachDar.com is where you can find everything. And on Instagram, it's the Coach Dar. And I put a lot of, I'm either going to inspire you or make you laugh. So follow along.
I like the laugh. Yeah. I like you laughing. Yeah. I feel like when other people laugh, I want to laugh. So don't lose that.
And thank you for having me on.
yeah, I appreciate you just being yourself. I just tell people all the time, I'm like, if you swear, swear. If you don't swear, don't swear. Like, just be yourself.
Yeah.
Like, stop fitting the mold of what the rest of society is. And I'm like, just
be you.
yeah, because
Your
I
best
feel-
version.
Yeah, I feel like you'll attract the right people.
Yeah.
And there was a point in time in our business where this is when we first started growing. Somebody had made a comment and they said, if you talk about God one more time, like, we're canceling. And it was our highest paying client. They were paying like 50 grand a month. And this was like 3 years ago. So we couldn't afford to lose this client. And like, everybody was begging Andy, like, please don't mention God on the Zoom call again when we do the training. And he's like, nope, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And he did it, and they canceled. And we lost all their business. It was the best thing that we ever did, because literally within 30 days, we attracted all of the right people that came.
Oh, that's
And our business
awesome.
even grew.
That's awesome.
So I just love that you are who you are, and, you know,
Thank
don't ever
you.
change, because you will attract so many people. And like, you know, you're the disciple that God is using to pass
Thank
his
you.
message through. And
Thank
like,
you.
you have so many more blessings ahead of you, girl. Like, so many bigger players that are going to come and reach out. And like,
Yeah.
I just know, like, your future is bright, especially, you know, using God, and you're the platform to bring
Thank
more people
you.
to him. So
You too.
girl, you
You
keep
too.
at it, you
Yeah.
know, and I'm going to get my skincare routine from you. So
Ah!
that's all. Well, thank you so much again, Coach Dar. Until
Thank
next
you.
time when we shatter limiting beliefs.
Thank
Thank you.